And actually, the chief executive of Blackstone, Steve Schwartzman, is another person a lot of people will have heard of, another larger-than-life character, says to this day that was like the worst business decision of his life, selling off that part, because BlackRock went on to become this kind of mega giant, earning lots of money.
Who went on to employ George Osborne briefly, I believe.
I think that's right. Yes, I'm not sure.
I think
I'm
so.
not sure
Briefly,
about
it's like
that.
some consultant. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
but I mean, there's an important point there, which is basically that asset managers, these guys, have become the place where government people, regulators, central bankers end up to earn their payday after they've operated. So Mark Carney, who was governor of the Central Bank of England, is now the vice chairman of Brookfield Asset Management. Tim Geithner, who was the Treasury Secretary and kind of screwed over US homeowners in the foreclosure crisis, he's now, I think, at Warburg Pincus or one of the other big. So in the old days, people ended up at investment banks after they'd done their thing, and now they end up at asset management firms.
We'll talk about this in a bit, but you talk about Blackstone and BlackRock basically writing US climate policy or being major influences on quote unquote Bidenomics, why they like it. We'll park that for a moment, but it's interesting because, like you say, before 2008, everybody was saying, look how many people are coming from Goldman Sachs into the Obama administration. Now it's
Blackstone and BlackRock.
It's a different part of those industries. On housing, let's get on this, because this is the most substantially important thing, I think, for people watching this. Why do these businesses like housing assets? Why do they like real assets in general, but why in particular do they like housing?
So, yeah, that's a great question. There are lots of reasons. And it's super interesting. And I think the first thing to say is that they were historically wary of housing. I think that they, particularly in quote unquote homeowner societies where, it's everyone's dream to own their home, they were wary of investing in housing, rental housing, owning and then letting it out to people, because they didn't want to be seen to be kind of tramping on the home ownership dream of lots of people. But I think again, this was another respect in which the financial crisis was really important, because one of the things that became very clearly and forcefully argued during the financial crisis was that the financial crisis was deemed to be kind of evidence that home ownership had hit its natural ceiling. So we got to about, in the US, for example, 70% home ownership, but that was too much because we